Hey everyone, and welcome. So, have you ever stopped to think about the invisible digital systems running behind the scenes in, well, practically every vehicle on Earth? Whether you're driving to work in a modern car, hopping on a city bus, or watching one of those massive excavators on a construction site, there is this hidden, lightning-fast conversation happening right beneath the surface. Today in this explainer, we're going to master the backbone of all that automotive communication, the CAN bus.
To really wrap our heads around why this tech is such a game changer, I want you to picture a modern car. But don't just think about an engine, some seats and wheels. I want you to imagine a car that secretly houses 20 totally independent electronic computers. Every single one of those computers absolutely has to talk to the others in real time just for the car to function safely.
Okay, let's dive into this. If we don't have a centralized network, how on earth do we get 20 computers to talk? Well, in early vehicles, you actually had to directly wire every single controller to every other controller it needed to share info with. We are talking about an absolute chaotic spaghetti wiring nightmare. You'd be adding thousands of feet of heavy copper wire, which adds enormous weight. It drives up manufacturing costs, the physical complexity is off the charts, and honestly, it creates a massive web of physical failure points that severely tanks the car's reliability.
Now, when we say 20 computers, what exactly are we talking about here? In the automotive world, they're called ECUs, or electronic control units. An ECU is basically a highly specialized, embedded computer tasked with managing a very specific subsystem of the vehicle. So, one ECU might strictly manage your engine timing, another handles the airbags, another handles the anti-lock brakes, or the battery management, or even just the climate control. Modern cars literally cannot function without these ECUs.
Section 1. The CAN bus solution.
Obviously, as cars got more and more advanced, engineers desperately needed a fix for those physical wiring limitations. Back in the 1980s, the engineers at Bosch introduced the hero of our story, the CAN bus. That stands for Controller Area Network. Instead of needing hundreds of individual wires connecting every device point-to-point, CAN allows multiple controllers to share one single elegant communication bus. It's a protocol built from the ground up for insanely reliable communication between these embedded devices.
And this brilliantly illustrates the monumental shift we're talking about here. Think of the old wiring method, like a super chaotic office building where every single employee has a dedicated physical phone line wired directly to every other employee's desk. It'd be completely unmanageable, right? The CAN bus approach is way more like a modern office network. Everyone connects to one common channel, and messages are just exchanged efficiently over that shared space. It literally transforms and simplifies the physical design of the entire vehicle.
Section 2. How CAN communication works. So, physical wiring nightmare? Solved. But now we've got a digital problem on our hands. If everyone is sharing the exact same wire, how do these ECUs talk without constantly talking over each other? Now, a really common mistake is assuming CAN works like your home Wi-Fi, where messages are sent to specific device IP addresses. It doesn't. CAN actually uses message-based broadcasting. Every message is broadcast out to the entire network. Every ECU sees every single message and just decides locally, hey, is this information relevant to my job? For instance, when the engine controller broadcasts that the engine speed is 3,000 RPM, that one single message goes everywhere. The dashboard grabs it to update your tachometer, the transmission controller uses it to decide if it needs to shift, and the traction controller uses it to monitor wheel slip. All from one single broadcast. But to pull that off, each broadcast needs a very rigid structure. You've got the data payload, which is the actual meat of the info, the data length, and error checking data. But step 1, the message identifier, is absolutely the MVP here. Because there are no specific device addresses, the identifier is what tells the network what the message actually means. Like, hey, this is engine RPM, or this is brake pressure. And, even more critically, it dictates the message's priority.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the network handles two devices trying to talk at the exact same time. It uses a clever mechanism called arbitration. Just imagine a really busy traffic intersection. Regular traffic, which is our standard messages, waits its turn. But when an emergency vehicle rolls up with sirens blaring, it instantly gets the right of way. CAN arbitration works exactly the same way. Higher priority messages automatically and instantly override lower priority ones. To anchor this to real-world safety, just think about a crash scenario. The moment crash sensors detect an impact, they generate an airbag deployment signal. That is a life-or-death, critical priority message. If at that exact same millisecond you happen to be turning the dial to turn up your radio volume, CAN arbitration steps in. The airbag signal wins instantly, period.
The radio volume update simply has to wait until the bus is free. That's how we guarantee life-saving info gets through without a single delay.
Section 3. Bulletproof reliability.
Priority is crucial, sure,
But it's only one piece of the puzzle. We also have to talk about how this network survives the incredibly hostile environment of a moving car. A car is an electrically noisy beast. You've got massive interference pumping out of the alternator, the ignition system, and the motors. To fight that, the CAN bus actually uses two wires, CAN high and CAN low. It relies on a technique called differential signaling. Because those two wires carry complementary signals, the system can effectively cancel out and just flat out reject all that outside electrical noise.
Plus, automotive systems demand absolute, uncompromising reliability. So CAN is a bit of a perfectionist. It's constantly monitoring itself using these highly sophisticated error detection mechanisms, things like CRC checks and bit monitoring. It's basically checking its own homework nonstop. If it detects even the slightest error, the corrupted message is instantly tossed out and it automatically triggers a retransmission to keep the communication absolutely pristine.
All of this adds up to extreme fault tolerance. CAN wasn't just adapted for cars, it was designed from the ground up for harsh environments. It just keeps chugging along, operating effectively even when it's getting bombarded with electrical noise, when individual devices fail, or when weird transient errors pop up. That rugged resilience, that's exactly why CAN still utterly dominates the auto industry today.
Section 4. Beyond the car. So, the crucial point is, when you zoom out and look at the broader tech landscape, how does CAN stack up against other tools? Well, in embedded systems, different protocols are built for different jobs. UART is great for simple point-to-point stuff. I2C is awesome for short-range communication on a single circuit board. Ethernet, that's your go-to for massive bandwidth and heavy data transfer. But when you need multi-device, highly robust communication across a harsh, noisy environment, CAN bus is the undisputed king. They all have their place, but CAN absolutely owns the vehicle. Of course, as cars evolve, the tech has to evolve too. Modern vehicles are incredibly sophisticated now. Think about all the advanced driver assistance systems and the deeply integrated infotainment screens. Traditional CAN started hitting some speed limits. That led to the evolution of CAN FD, which stands for Flexible Data Rate. It's exactly what it sounds like. It supports larger data payloads, much faster communication speeds, and better efficiency so it can keep up with today's massive data demands. And because this technology is so insanely reliable, it didn't stay confined to just cars. You'll actually find CAN bus acting as the communication backbone in factory automation, in life-saving medical devices, in massive agricultural tractors, construction equipment, and even in complex marine systems out on the ocean. Its reliability makes it universally valuable anywhere failure isn't an option. To wrap up our explainer today, let's take a quick look toward the future. We've seen exactly how CAN beautifully coordinates dozens of computers into one seamless system. But as we push toward fully autonomous vehicles, which are literally just data centers on wheels, churning out enormous amounts of radar, LiDAR, and camera data, CAN simply won't be able to handle all that bandwidth by itself. It's definitely going to remain the backbone for safety and critical control systems, but what new, lightning-fast networks are going to step up and share that massive data load alongside it? It's a pretty fascinating question as we look at the future of connected transportation. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions and keep exploring the invisible systems that power our world.